friends, today I'm going to be covering someone I haven't covered before, and it's a request I actually got a long time ago. It was one of the earlier requests I got, and it's just taken a while to get to because I always too nervous to do them in order, so I put them on the big wheel I have, I spin it, and whatever pops up, pops up. It's taken this long for the band Jinjer, I'm assuming that's how you pronounce it, Jinjer to pop up with the song Wallflower. I don't know anything about this band. I don't know what genre they do. I know nothing. I've never heard of them. So let's do it. I'm ready. Let's go. Alright. Already pause. Sucker for black and white with a spot of color. The most famous version being the girl in the little red coat in Schindler's List. Which is a bummer of a film, but that like red coat in that film is incredibly iconic. And this being red as well, I mean, I don't know this band, maybe they are going for a Schindler's List thing, probably not, but it does make it stand out so much. I also love, my favorite films ever is Pleasantville, and just like the black and white with those bits of color as color slowly seeps into the movie. It's my favorite things to look at. Ooh, it's all red. Oh, that's not beautiful. I always point out puppies. Those are two puppies. There we go. These, I've talked about it before several times of the difference between shooting in black and white and like, you know, just putting on the filter that makes your shot black and white and actually filming black and white, knowing how to light it properly, knowing what to do to make it look good. And this looks very good.
Stay in, you can be alone. Stay in, you can feel like home. Breathe in, it's a place where you belong. When no one does you wrong. Your capsule is your fortress, where you can lick your wounds. Your people, avoiding people, and fall in love with solitude. They won't find me.
So far, the vibes music-wise I'm getting, it's kind of giving me like a Perfect Circle or like Deftonesy. She is beautiful, isn't she? My goodness, what a stunning person she is. And everything just like, all the stuff she's doing is also delicate and lovely. And then the lyrics are, I did see what year this came out, which makes me have wonders. Very much about like staying inside and the solitude of that. It did come out in 2001, so I don't know if we're talking about just a general wanting to stay in, if that means physical, like literally, if we're talking about the unpleasantness of 2020, or if it's more stay in as in like keeping your like emotions in, sort of a thing. I don't know if it's a metaphorical stay in and isolating and stuff like that. If we're going for a let it go frozen, or if we're going for a a lockdown. I love that sand art, so pretty.
The chances go to zero. I'm a guest in my own skin. I take it off and be myself. The outside is hostile, and the waves hit me hard. So I climb into my shell to my wounds again.
Her talking about how the outside is hostile, again, could be with the lockdown stuff, or could just be the outside is a terrifying place when you're not feeling great mentally. Sorry we had to pause for heater, but that's okay. So I had paused the video anyway. so yeah, it's interesting her talking about the world being hostile outside again. That could be during that time period where everything did kind of feel like extremely hostile. That was a crazy time, wasn't it? I don't know, this being 2021, I have to feel like that probably has something to do with this. And hilarious, like, I'm sure there are people watching, I'm sure they've come out and said, like, yes, it's that, or no, it's not. So I probably sound very silly, but I'm just going to, as I always do, just kind of say what my reading is, regardless of if it might be totally wrong or not. Yeah, the idea of it being hostile outside, her constantly looking over toward the window, whether it's a literal thing that is following her or what, I don't know. And then there's the talking about licking her wounds, which is sort of like an animalistic thing, even though like people use that phrase, still that mixed with the two wolves in the paintings, which, let's talk about the two wolves. Okay. Black wolf, white wolf, black wolf's looking aggressive, the white wolf looked away, kind of sad. So obviously we're going for the two wolves thing. The two wolves, little, what is it, a fable? It's I don't know. Two wolves analogy, whatever you would call it. The idea that there's two wolves inside you. One is full of like rage and aggression and all these different things, and one is full of peace and compassion. They're constantly in battle. Which one wins? The one you feed. It's a nice little thing. I know it's been attributed to like, shoot, now I forget which tribe it was. Native American, like it being a Native American story, but then I've also heard that's super not true. And people just assume it is because someone said it was once. And that's just how people, you know what, I love to do my movie rants, let's do a movie rant. It reminds me of that whole thing, which is, again, just a symbol going on here, but hey, ranting is what I do. There's a film, one of my favorite films, called Dead Man, which is a Jim Jarmusch film, starring Johnny Depp, actually. And he, without getting into the full plot, there's a lot of the film is him with a Native American man who's trying to, Johnny Depp's character is trying to like get out of a bad situation, and he's been injured and he's not doing well, and the Native American man's trying to help him, but the Native American man thinks that something very different is going on than what actually is, which is basically Johnny Depp's character's name is William Blake, which is the name of a very famous English poet. Now the Native American man, he was raised, at least from what I can recall, he was raised by Europeans, so he was taught to read and write, and so he knows of William Blake the poet. And so throughout the film, he believes he's talking to the spirit, because he didn't know what William Blake looked like. He believes he's talking to the spirit of William Blake. Meanwhile, William Blake the guy just like thinks he's dealing with this random dude. So the Native American man is constantly saying quotes from William Blake poems to him, but the character of William Blake doesn't know that's what it is. Like, it's the idea of like literally spitting back his own culture to him, being like European culture, and the man is too ignorant to know that's what it is, and so because it's being said by this Native American man, just assumes it's like Native American wisdom. I find very interesting and kind of funny. So I feel like that story being considered like a you know, what was it? I believe that it's attributed to the Cherokee, but then, like I said, I've heard tons of people say like that's super not true. It's just a random story someone made up, and they added that to make it seem mystical. If I'm wrong, I apologize. That's what I've always heard, is that just like, oh yeah, it's this Native American story. It's like, it's super not. It's super duper not. Anyway, all that to say, that's probably what those wolves mean. I go on rants for no reason. But yeah, and I think it is a interesting story, because it's not only is it the dark and the light inside you, but in this case, it could also be the making it an external thing of the aggressive outside being her wanting to hide inward is another thing I could go for. Not necessarily the you versus you, it could be your environment versus you. Okay. After my goofy dead man rant, let's go back to the actual song.
Bright
Isn't that interesting? Yeah, he was chasing after her, and then finally when she's running, he keeps running. When she turns around and like kind of snarls at him a little bit, like raises like, I will fight back, he stops. It's interesting.
In fear of saying something wrong, my circle of our friends is getting empty, it's getting empty, getting empty, emptier. And I don't really wish for you.
I was literally sitting here going like, man, her voice is so cool, and I'm surprised they're not going, like, usually in this kind of music that I've heard before, there's usually a point where it gets like really hard and it goes to that thing, and then suddenly she does that. I'm like, oh, there it is. The line of what was it, like, my circle of friends is basically, my circle of friends is shrinking, and I'm not super in the mood to get new ones, is real. And if we go for potentially related to lockdown, I think that everyone's every kind of relationship was tested during that time, for sure. I definitely had friends who I spoke to a lot during that time, and friends who our relationship ceased to exist unless we were in front of each other, such as the way of adult friendships. But I doubt that's what they're going for. It also could be people who passed away. It also could just be if you shut yourself off to people. It could be that as well. That was cool. This whole video is really gorgeous.
I gotta go home, my batteries are low. This life is a lockdown. I gotta go home, my batteries are low. That's what it's all about. I never asked to be here. I had enough from the beginning. Turning molehills into mountains. I feel the pressure building. Should I just go on or jump over the wall and say hello to the sick world? I gotta go home, my batteries are low. This life is a lockdown.
Alright, come on, life is lockdown. Yeah, it's 100% gotta be related to that. I gotta go home, my batteries are low. Oh, boysies. I did not expect her to pull out the firearms right on. Fuck them up. Fuck them up. It is kind of weird having those men who are trying to get in be played by the rest of the band. It just kind of threw me a little bit. But yeah, I gotta go home, my batteries are low. I remember when things started to open back up again and everyone was like, yeah, it's all better, life, and not even just like the jumping the gun of like everything's back to normal, but more of just like expecting yourself to be back to normal and that, like, great, I'm allowed to do stuff, so I need to go do stuff. And then you realize you're not ready. You can't, that being inside that long changed all of us to sometimes small degrees, sometimes huge. As someone who still deals with long COVID, it's very much changed my life. Not in great ways. It sucks. But yeah, we all kind of went out to the world like, yes, finally back. And then after like 2 hours out, we're like, I can't handle this. I gotta go. Cause it went from 0 to a ton. And I remember for a while, I was someone who, when I was younger, would sometimes get nervous in large crowds, but then I got way over it. I worked at Disneyland for many, many years, and so I was fine with crowds. And suddenly, if someone got too close to me at the grocery store, I'd start to like have a panic attack. It's just like, oh, this did a little psychological damage to everybody. Oh no. The batteries are much, much easier to deplete nowadays.
This life is a lockdown. I our love. That's what it's all about. This life is a lockdown. That's what it's all about.
Fascinating. Huh. I wonder what that last bit meant. Can't talk. She was raging. She had her guns, looking like a boss. That made the dark half aggressive. But then she looked down at this beautiful thing she'd been making and used that and threw it at them, and they disappeared. And it made the dark half chill out, and they were back to being even again. So I wonder if that means, technically, we watched her just destroy the thing she just made. I don't know if it's meant to be that, or it's meant to be more like this was her art, and instead of trying to throw aggression and violence, she threw her art at them, and that, like, the release of that made the scary things disappear, of, like, letting it out through your art, I think is maybe what they were going for. Is there any more to this? It's just, okay. Sandard's pretty, isn't it? That was very cool. I did not know what I was in for, and that was a really surprisingly beautiful video. I liked that a lot. And the song, again, well, it's one of those things where it's like, oh, it's not super my taste in music. She's got a great voice, and, it's definitely music that I used to be really into Perfect Circle and somewhat into, Deftones and things like that. So I was like, I could see myself when I was into that kind of music listening to this. So yeah, I think it's a really good example of the kind of music that it is. So I still say it's good music for sure. Doesn't have to be my kind of music to know that it's good music. That sounds like good music to me. That was great. Thanks so much for joining me, everybody. And yeah, if anyone wants me to check out, I think this is the only song of theirs I had on my request. So if anyone wants me to check out more of their songs, by all means, let me know. This was a really cool video. Thanks so much, guys.